I wish we would have won the game. Didn't play well enough to win it. Left too many points out there. Missed a couple throws here and there that probably could have changed the game. So, never fun to have that happen.
That is Jim Caldwell. We're going to call him the mortician because he's getting so used to digging holes early in games. And Matthew Stafford seemed in a pretty good mood considering he can just cash his paycheck. Darian, when you think about what you saw on Thanksgiving Day, was this typical Lions or the Minnesota Vikings with Case Keenum better than anyone envisioned?
I think you got to give a lot of credit to the Vikings and the Case Keenum, and I think they are a lot better than anyone envisioned. When Bradford went down, albeit not the best quarterback out there, thought the Vikings might run into some problems. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers going down in Green Bay, knew the Packers were going to run into problems, and so then I thought this was the year the Lions had to get the division this year. You got to win a division when two of the teams in the division that are your competitors lose their starting quarterbacks. But Case Keenum is a starting quarterback. They have two very, very good receivers on the outside. They have a defense that's playing great. So I don't think this is lioning by the Lions here. I just think the Vikings are a very, very good team. It's not like they're just beating the Lions here. They are right now number 2 in the NFC, or at least tied for number 2 in the NFC. So they're going to be very formidable in the playoffs, and I guess we'll see how real they are once they hit the playoffs. But I think they're a better team. I think the Vikings are a better team than the Lions.
Doug, everyone talks about the Eagles, and rightly so, but could the Vikings wind up in the Super Bowl?
Oh, I think they can with that defense. If Case Keenum continues to play as well as he is. The offensive line's really good. The defense is exceptional. I think Mike Zimmer is one of the most underrated coaches. Maybe that's turning. He's done a tremendous job. And Rick Spielman, Chris Spielman's brother, as GM there, has built a powerhouse team and done it the right way through the draft. And this is, I think, what the Lions are trying to work toward with Bob Quinn. I've said this now. Next April will be Bob Quinn's 3rd draft. The first 2, I think, have been very good. The Lions, you'd like to see them get to the playoffs this year. They're going to have to do it as a wild card, it appears. But I think next year you're going to really find out how good this team is, and if they're ready to take that next step like the Rams have done this year, like the Eagles, and like Minnesota's done, with good quality building through the draft like those other teams have. Lions are on the way.
It's a treadmill offense when the Lions try to run the ball, Ryan. They just go nowhere, and it puts so much pressure on Matthew Stafford.
They're in a hole, like Jim Caldwell said. 73-30, they've been outscored in first quarters this year. That's a total of 30 points in the first quarter, 11 games. That's under 3 points per first quarter. They're scoreless in almost half of their first quarters. They've led in only 2 of those games, at the Giants, at Green Bay, and they have not scored more than 3 points in 6 home games in the first quarter. That goes to coaching. That goes to preparation. If this Lions team, to build on both Darian's point and Doug's, does not make the playoffs with a 3rd-string quarterback in Minnesota, with Dalvin Cook out, with Aaron Rodgers out in Green Bay, Jim Caldwell doesn't deserve to come back. Point blank, period, end of sentence. I just don't see this as a team that shouldn't be challenging for the division. And Doug just nailed it on the head. You got 2 guys out of a recent draft, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, leading their teams. The Rams were not good last year, to playoff appearances and home games in the playoffs. You got Case Keenum, a 3rd-string quarterback. The excuses for Matthew Stafford, for this offense, for this team, have to come to an end.